Greetings, tech fans. Welcome back to Mr. Mankiti's Adventures in EdTech. Today's EdTech adventure is the Renweb and Google Classroom integration. Renweb is also known as FACTS. So let's jump into it. It's a four-step process. First step is that you create an assignment in Google Classroom. Next is you create a corresponding assignment in Renweb. And there's some updates that Renweb made to the integration that makes it a lot easier, saves you a lot more typing. Next thing is grade and return the assignment in Google Classroom and then import the grades into Renweb. So first step, create the assignment in Google Classroom. When you create the assignment in Google Classroom, you're going to add the description and all your assignment resources in Google Classroom. So here I am in my Google Classroom. I'm going to go to my classwork tab. Now this is an assignment that I've already created and I have a few students that have already turned it in. So I'm going to view the assignment from the edit page just so that we can go through adding all of this stuff. I'm not going to go through creating an assignment from scratch because this assumes that you already know how to do this. So I've got my title, I've got my description. Down here I've got a link that I've added. It's for all students. I added a category and points, and then there's a due date, which is Friday, September 18th. Now that's a date in the future. And then the topic is going to be whatever you choose. So this has already been saved, no need to save it again. So from here, the very next step is to create an assignment in Renweb. Now the cool thing about this is that all you have to do is click the Google Classroom checkbox first, and Renweb is going to import all the description and the title that you've already created in Google Classroom. Let's look at that. I'm going to jump over to Renweb. I'm going to go into my classroom. From here I will go into the corresponding class, which is 04 Tech A. Keep in mind, this also assumes that your administrator has also mapped each teacher's class into Renweb. So from Google Classroom to Renweb. If that has not happened, make sure you contact your administrator. I'm going to go into the gradebook. And here I have a few assignments. I'm going to go ahead and add another. Okay, but I'm not going to type in anything here. I'm just going to scroll straight to the bottom and choose Google Classroom. Here in the drop-down box it says create new, but we've already got an assignment created, which is lesson 1 here, exercises 9 through 15. I'm going to choose that, and then it's going to ask me if I want to load the details from Google Classroom. This is a time saver. It's made my life a whole lot easier. I'm going to click load. Now, the only thing you have to do from here is make sure that you choose the assignment category and verify the due date. So, verify the due date is the same, which is Friday, September 18th. It's going to automatically assign today's date as the assigned date, which is fine. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to choose a category to correspond to Google Classroom, which is classwork. Everything is here. Now, also, for good measure, you can go back to Google Classroom, click these 3 dots right next to your assignment, and then click copy link. You can go back to Renweb, to your gradebook, and in that assignment, you can paste that link. But this link is just for informational purposes. This link has nothing to do with the actual integration. But this is just for informational purposes, just in case you have students or parents that are still using Renweb to grab their assignments, then this information is there and it takes them straight to the assignment in Google Classroom. So we're done with this, and then we can save it and close it. After that, our next step is to grade and return the assignment in Google Classroom. So I'm going to go to Google Classroom and I'm going to choose a couple of students in the class that I know have done their work and are finished with it. So I'm going to choose them, and I'm just going to give them the grades that they deserve. Okay. Now, again, if you do not return the grade, the integration will not work. Renweb will not be able to see the grades, only when you've returned these grades. So I'm going to click return. You get a pop-up that says return work to 2 students. You can add a private comment that goes to each of the students privately. And I'm going to click return. All right, so those grades are in there. I've also got a couple of other grades that I've returned for some other students that have completed the assignment. From here, our next step is to import into Renweb. So in order to import into Renweb, you're going to go back into your gradebook, and there's a button up at the top that says Load Google Grades. Now you can do this one of 2 ways. You can click Load Google Grades, and then it will give you the choice to load multiple assignments, grades from multiple assignments, or you can go into the particular assignment, and there is Load Google Grades there, and you can do it for just this one assignment. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to do it. I'm going to choose the multiple assignment way. And the reason I do this is because if there's any grades that I've changed or any grades that I've missed, by choosing all of the assignments, Renweb will pull every new grade from Google Classroom so I can make sure my grades are always in sync. So I click all of that and I click load. And once I click load, you'll notice that these 4 grades are now in for these students. So that's it in a nutshell. A couple of things to keep in mind. Attachments will not transfer to Renweb. So in this instance, for the assignment, I attached a link in Google Classroom, but that link did not show up in Renweb. So any of your attachments, if you attach a Google Doc or a picture, a video, etc., will not show up in Renweb. For St. Philip's, we are using Renweb strictly for informational purposes and the gradebook. All of our communications with the students will be primarily through Google Classroom. Also, you must ensure that the grades have been returned to students, otherwise the integration will not work. And it is best if you create both simultaneously to avoid confusion. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Have fun.